Hello everybody and welcome to another edition of my weekly Facebook Live UX audits. So before we get started, you might notice a little bit of difference in the surroundings here. I got a brand new desk from National Business Furniture and I'm going to be working with them on a series of blog posts about stuff like workplace productivity and just figuring out how your workspace defines how you get work done and things like that. So you can't see the whole desk. It's really cool, but I will be sharing more pictures with you once I have created a little bit more organization in my space. We're still kind of moving some stuff around, like you can see we have like our dog's crate back there just because there's no real good place for it right now, but we'll get there. In the meantime, I'm already feeling so much more productive now that I have a space that matches kind of my work style. I had this corner desk from IKEA that has followed me to like 5 different apartments from college, and it was just so claustrophobic. So I'm really excited to be able to kind of spread out and, get creative, and then also just have some level of organization to all my stuff that I like to have on hand when I'm working. So that's going on. It's a little bit chaotic, but what else did I want to share with you? Nothing that I can think of right now. So let's get straight into this audit here. I'm going to bring up my screen and you should be able to see it now. So today we're going to go over a graphic design or just designer in general portfolio website. And Kiley is a friend that I met, I want to say in like middle school, and it's been cool to watch how she's been growing into her career. She makes really cool designs. And so today we're just going to go over kind of what's going on her website. So as you can see here, we're on like the root domain, KileyHoffman.com, and it defaults to her portfolio. And so I'm going to say the same thing that I say about people who default to like their latest blog posts as their homepage, and that's that you are very much at the mercy of whatever your latest content is in terms of whatever message it is that you want to get across to people when they first land on your website. Again, the homepage really is the most valuable real estate that you have. And so what you really ideally should be using the homepage for is just making sure to connect with the type of person that you want to connect with. So in this case, somebody who might hire Kiley, maybe somebody who might want to collaborate with her, but either way, maybe having like a hero image that speaks to the type of work she does, or even maybe like a headshot type image, where she's featured in it because she is her work. And then having some sort of headline that says, Kiley Hoffman is this type of designer who likes to work with these type of clients, for example. And of course, you got to finesse that so it actually sounds good. But the idea is that you're just trying to immediately connect with the ideal person, that whoever it is that you want to connect with on your website. So for work, just for people to appreciate her work, whatever. But no matter what, saying that would be useful. Not that she doesn't have a lot of beautiful imagery to share, but I think it's better served on like a portfolio or a work tab. So other things that you might want to add to your homepage here, Kiley, are things like testimonials from people who've worked with you, maybe a logo cloud of some of these brands that you've worked with. You could even feature a couple of your projects in a certain like subheading that says like, latest from my portfolio, and then have like a little scrolling thing or just like a couple feature items. So I think there's ways to incorporate what you have here, but also kind of making the messaging more clear. You also have to think, what's my most important goal with this website? If it is to get people to want to work with you, then there really should be some sort of call to action on this page that says, click here to get in touch, or even embedding a contact form directly on this page. So more subheadings, separating all the different things that you want to add on the homepage, a slightly different design, and giving your portfolio its own page. So let's talk about the portfolio now that we've talked about the homepage a bit. One thing that I'm kind of struggling with on my own website right now is I just switched the theme, and I love the new theme, but whenever I change themes and I use the portfolio functionality, it's like never compatible between the different themes that I use. And so right now the problem is that I don't have like obvious filters on the main portfolio page where people could see different types of writing I do. So whatever's most relevant to them, it's all just like right there on a blob, and I'm fixing it, and I finally figured out how to do it, but it's just one of those time-consuming things that I just, I can't do it right now, so I'm having one of my assistants help me just because I want it to be done, and I finally figured out how, but it's annoying. But anyway, having some sort of filter at the top of this page that says, these are packaging designs, these are, and it looks like that might actually be the majority of what Kiley does here, but these are illustrations, these are like graphic designs or whatever, or you could even do it by industry. You could say like, here's a physical product, here's a digital, I don't know, whatever. So having some sort of way for people to filter by what's most relevant to them, but also it kind of acts, I think, for like a designer, a professional designer's portfolio, it kind of shows at a glance like, these are my skills, these are the things that I've done projects in before, so people can see like the end result of your work by clicking on these different portfolio items and clicking through. But having those little descriptors that are also filters at the top also offers an at a glance look at what it is that you do exactly without somebody having to click through and read. So let's look at what one of these individual items looks like. And as you can see, there's like a little blurb about it. You can share it. She has some pictures that show different aspects of the design. One thing and then you can see some of her other designs here, other portfolio pieces, which really there should be some sort of heading here ideally, maybe under like the last portfolio item on each page, or if you could build it into the theme before these show that says, view other works or something, just to add context, because otherwise people might scroll down and just assume it's part of this. I mean, to someone like me, it's obvious that it's different, but I've also looked at this website once or twice before doing this live, so just making things as clear as possible by incorporating subheadings and directional cues and things like that, always a good thing. It might also help to have some formatting in the description that is shared by all these other portfolio items. So things like saying like client semicolon, like skills used semicolon, and then she won some awards on this one in particular, so you could even add like an optional field like awards associated with this or something like that. It just helps to organize information, because especially when you have like a block of text like this, it's hard to read. I know it's not that much text, but you'd be surprised by how much readability actually affects people going through and really reading it. So incorporating different things that break up the text into more readable bite-sized pieces and drawing out information that might be of interest to a potential client would be great. Another thing you might want to think about is 2 to 3 sentence paragraphs so that there's more white space here. So let's keep looking through the website. So here's Kiley's About page, and it's super simple. I haven't read it yet, so let me just look at this really quick. One thing that I'm noticing just by kind of looking through it is that Kiley has a lot of great experience. Like she talks about, I've achieved 13 state and national design awards while pursuing an undergraduate degree. Instead of talking about them in a general sense, it would be helpful to maybe list them out. The About page is a perfect place to do that. You could even do that in the sidebar here if you don't want to take away from the main message. She also talks a little bit about what she likes to do, what she excels in, and then some of the other things that she also likes to do. It's fun. I think one thing that you have to be careful about is like I, me, my. Ultimately, the About page is supposed to be about the person who is coming to visit. Yes, you should have, like a bio. You should talk about yourself. You should introduce yourself and, get into your personality a bit. I think these are all necessary things that go on an about page, but you also have to gear it towards the type of person who is visiting your website and, saying, I like to work with, she talks about like agencies, but maybe speaking more to why she would do really well in an agency, customers she's worked with in the past that had a great experience. Incorporating more of that sort of language would definitely be beneficial, I think, to achieving her end of, getting more graphic design work or landing a full-time graphic design job. And, another thing I usually recommend on about pages is having a contact form if you want people to get in touch. You do have a keep in touch call to action here, but in order for somebody to actually get in touch, they have to copy it, they have to put it in Gmail or whatever they use. Adding an embedded contact form reduces the steps that it takes for somebody to get in touch. So having that either here or down here would be useful. And also, like social links would be good, even if it's just to like LinkedIn. Or a lot of designers have portfolios on platforms like Behance. So having stuff like that would be useful for people who want to connect in other ways or who just want to learn more. Let's look at the contact page. This is another place where social links would be great. And one thing that I haven't talked about that might be worth talking about is that there's no footer. Kiley might be, or there is one right here, Kiley might be going for just like a very minimalist look, and so maybe in her case it makes sense that she doesn't have one. She doesn't have a whole lot of pages, so footers, I think, in my opinion, they usually help with things like navigation because, you scroll down, you don't want to go all the way back up, but you just want to find whatever page you were looking for. But footers can also be good for repeating information like your social links, and she does have Instagram here, reiterating how to get in touch, even like sharing your social feed. So like, depending on how much Kiley shares her design stuff on Instagram, it might be worth embedding a feed as the footer. But I think in her case, it might not matter. It's probably more important for like service businesses or businesses that just have a lot of content. So I'm kind of 50-50 on if this site even needs a footer. And then I think instead of saying I'm currently on the lookout for design-related jobs, instead just directly invite people to get in touch. Be like, hey, do you have a design job that you want to chat about with me? Use the form on the right or something like that. I think, it's like the same thing on LinkedIn. You don't want it to be like, hey, bring jobs to me. It's more like, I'm ready to talk to you. Let's do it. Making it more sort of like call to action, like she has let's work together. But again, I think sometimes language, I think all the time, language is everything. So consider repositioning that. And then I think this is her Instagram, but it would be beneficial to label that and say this is Instagram, because otherwise people might think it's Twitter, unless it's both, in which case you should still probably label it. So there's one more page here, or one more like top level page, and that's the store. And it's kind of confusing because we have this design here and it says it's $0. It's probably not for sale unless it's like a digital download of some sorts. So what I would say is if you want to use the store, great. You should definitely capitalize on your work when you can. But if it's not set up all the way, take it out of the top level menu for now. And if it is set up all the way, then maybe describe that this is a digital download sort of thing, and that's how that works, and that, people won't be asked for their credit card number or something like that. So, I think I've given you guys a couple things to think about with regards to this. Overall, for someone who does design, you kind of want the elements of your portfolio to speak for themselves. That said, you want to create a structure around all these great designs that pushes somebody to get in touch. So you need to be thinking, how can I get somebody who might need my services to want to get in touch with me on every single page? And so by following some of the suggestions that I've laid out today, I think that Kiley will get ever closer to what she is hoping to achieve. And with that, I'm out.